everybody, welcome back to another episode of True Crime Metrix. The public have spoken. The public have spoken. Hang on. Why are we hearing this again? What is going on now? Stop it. Oh, that's just me on the stream. I'm listening to myself. Okay, close that shit down. Thank you so much. The public, our public, the Metrix public, the Republic of Metrix have spoken. Where is our poll? We got a resounding vote in our poll today. When we asked you what you would like to see Metrix cover tonight. What were the options? Anyway, we're going with Amber Heard. Join the party. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing Jared Murray. Jared Murray, the genuine case of not guilty by reason of insanity that didn't land him any way better than life without parole. I mean, probably worse off being in that fucking mental institution. But after what he did, can you blame him? Or can you blame the justice system, I should say? I mean, you know, probably not. He did a bad thing. Real bad thing. And we'll be getting to that tomorrow. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, leave a comment. And today we're going to be looking, well, we're going to be doing some more Depp Heard videos today. And we're going to start that off this afternoon with Amber Heard's assistant, Kate James, who I'm sure many of you will remember spoke about her time under Amber Heard's employ with such palpable disdain and contempt that it's almost like looking at the victim of severe domestic abuse. I mean, in many ways, that is exactly what it is. And I'm sure that you all can imagine how that would be to be Amber Heard's PA, personal assistant, running errands, making sure the cars are booked, making sure the logistics are running correctly, making sure her clothes have been delivered to her shoots, and photographers are booked, and dinners are booked, and the most exclusive table in the house has been swooned by your wonderful personal assistant, Miss Kate James. Yeah, quite revealing. One of the most revealing testimonies of the entire trial, I would say. How are we doing in the chat, guys? Everyone in the chat? Very late notice. You know, we have big plans today to get that early notice. But we did the poll, and then I was talking to our wonderful moderator, Amy, about the, you know, the future of the show and some ideas and so on. You know what? And Amy has been so kind to gift the True Crime Metrix studio with a brand new copy of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual Edition 5. Yes, we've got a brand new copy on the way to sunny Portugal, where we will be exploring mental disorders with you all as we examine the cases that we discover. I think it's going to come in handy. I think it's going to be a great tool to add to the intrigue and development of the True Crime Metrix show. And we thank you very much, Amy, for that very kind and generous donation to our cause. Thank you, Amy. So, welcome everybody in the chat, and we will start our proceedings now.
Good morning, Your Honor. Our first witness is Kate James, by video.
Okay, by video. I'm doing that 2 seconds earlier. Can you get the screen up? I like to get the screen up before. Ladies and gentlemen, we usually try to get the screen up before you, because of that, the sound, but we'll get it up for you.
I always wonder who is in these pictures on the wall. You know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pictures on the wall that are visible. There's probably another 7 on the adjacent wall. What if they're all of the same guy? Or woman?
My name is Catherine Olwyn James.
What's your current address?
Olwyn. Only Australians have the name Olwyn.
Have you ever spoken with Miss Vasquez before today?
Yes,
When?
I don't recall.
What was the substance of that conversation?
I don't recall.
Was it in the past month?
No.
Was it in the past year?
Yes.
Did you talk about this case?
No.
What did you talk about?
I don't recall.
If you don't recall, how can you recall that you didn't discuss this case? Have you discussed this case or the UK litigation with Mr. Waldman?
Yes, I discussed the UK case with Mr. Waldman.
What did you discuss about the UK case with Mr. Waldman?
Your Honor, can we stop this, please?
Okay.
I don't recall.
Could you pause, please?
No details whatsoever that you recall?
Yeah.
Did Miss...
You could, there you go. All right, you want to approach?
Sure.
I'm not sure. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the video deposition, there are some extra statements that this witness made that aren't part of the video, but it is part of her testimony. So Mr. Rottenborn is just going to read those into the record and for you as well, okay?
Question. Have you spoken with Adam Waldman before? Answer, yes. Question. When was the last time you spoke with him? Answer, I don't recall. Question. How many times have you spoken with him? Answer, I would say somewhere around 10 times total. Question. Have you spoken with him in 2022? Answer, yes. Question. What was the substance of that conversation? Answer, friendly banter. Question. About what? Answer, nothing to do with the case at all. Question. What was it about? Answer, we have gotten to know each other, and, you know, I was on vacation, said Happy New Year, that's it. Question, did you call him or did he call you?
I really love it when we hear Mr. Rottenborn read a full conversation between parties to himself. There's something so just... I just love the contrast between the serious caliber quality of Johnny Depp's lawyers and the very noticeable, less so quality of Amber's lawyers. I mean, even in a non-celebrity trial, I just don't think they're very good. They're not very good at all. You know, Elaine Brederhoff and Mr. Rottenborn, like, that's what you've got to go up the legal team that Johnny Depp will employ. Are you serious? You should have done better. You know, you've got millions of dollars. You know, you're a movie star. You're the ex-wife of Johnny Depp. I mean, and all the rest of it. I mean, that's the best thing that you've got to throw at this. I think she'd have been better off hiring Kirk Nomi. You know, I quite like Kirk Nomi as a lawyer.
You. Answer, I didn't call him. Question, did you text him? Answer, I sent a message saying Happy New Year to a lot of my friends. Question, over text? Answer, yes.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, you can continue the video.
Waldman assist you in preparing your witness statements for the UK litigation?
No.
Did you exchange drafts of those statements with Mr. Waldman?
No,
Who did you send those drafts to?
shillings.
Is every word in those witness statements words that you drafted?
Yes,
Did anyone provide edits to those witness statements for your consideration?
I'm very good at my own editing, I can assure you.
That didn't answer my question. Did anyone else provide edits to those witness statements for
No.
your? Now, you've spoken with Mr. Depp since he and Amber got divorced, correct?
Correct.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
Did anyone else provide edits to those, what was it, those statements that you provided or something? I'm very good at my own editing, I can assure you. It doesn't answer the question, does it? And it asserts that she would not need someone else. You know, I want to support this witness, but that is a little suspicious.
You can answer.
I don't recall.
Was it within the past year?
No,
In any day prior to today, have you exchanged text messages with Mr. Depp?
yes.
When was the last time, approximately, that you exchanged text messages with Mr. Depp?
I would say 2016. Oh, yeah, I think 2016, but it's a long.
So that would be 6 years ago from this testimony, the last time that she exchanged text messages with Mr. Depp.
Time ago.
When was the last time you spoke with Amber Heard?
I don't recall.
Was it shortly after your employment with her ended in 2015?
No.
Another thing I find so funny about this trial, you know, Amber, what a fantastic actress, right? But look at her face here, right? Look at that face. Look at how much she detests this woman, and know that this woman detests her. It is overwhelmingly clear.
Was it after that?
It's overwhelmingly clear that Amber knows that this woman detests her and will be here to damage her theory of the matter involved. The matters.
No.
Have you spoken with her to the best of your recollection, or communicated with her in any way in the past, say, 5 years?
No.
Carrie Brooke wants to brush Johnny's hair. I think you should just put one of your cats on his head. Let them do the heavy lifting.
When were you hired by Miss Heard?
In 2012.
How did you meet her?
Her sister put an ad through, a recruitment system I use in my field.
Take me through the chronology of, well, let me ask it this way. When did would you describe your work for Miss Heard as a personal assistant? Is that what you would call your job title?
Yes.
When did you first start working as a personal assistant?
In 1999.
For how many?
So that is 23 years in the business. You know, I bet she's shit hot at what she does, right?
People have you served as a personal assistant?
Maybe 6.
Since you left Miss Heard's employment in 2015, for how many people have you served as a personal assistant?
1. That's the same person I work for to this day. I've been with him for 6.5 years.
Miss James, have you had any other jobs since, other than this this personal assistant job since you left Ms. Heard's employment?
No.
Now, your work for Ms. Heard was it part-time or full?
Big love to Kim. Thanks, Amy, for posting. I haven't seen the messages in Discord. But big love to Kim.
Time.
It started as part-time and became full-time.
When did you change from part-time to full-time?
I don't recall.
What were your job duties?
Too many to mention.
Give me your best summary of what your job duties were, please.
Oh, I think she's going to go on a rampage here and just list all the job duties that she had to undertake in dealing with Amber Heard. Way more than her pay grade. I think Amber offered her $20 an hour. which is basic.
Is this relevant? Okay, so let's see. I mean, if you are ready for a really, really long time of me explaining all of the details, that's fine. It's everything you could possibly do to run someone's life, okay? So it is grocery shopping. It is taking care of admin. It is running errands. It is getting the car fixed. It is getting the dogs groomed. It is picking up flowers. It is dealing with the decorator. It is dealing with the housekeeper. It is going on and on and on and on, and it goes on every single day. Arranging travel, dealing with all of the surplus staff around the travel, booking all the greeters, dealing with the changing of travel, okay, liaising with people that she's working with on films, updating her calendar accordingly, liaising with the people on set every single day to update her calendar to ensure that she knows what scene she's doing each day, what her call time is. Every day it's something different. But it's a lot. It's a myriad of things that go across the board daily.
You were paid for that work, correct?
Very poorly.
Oh, nice bite. Even Elaine Brederhoff is laughing at that. Look, you were paid for that work, weren't you, Miss James? Very poorly. Very poorly. It's just said with a venom. She is angry. Look at that. How do we go back? Go back.
Scene she's doing each day, what her call time is. Every day it's something different. But it's a lot. It's a myriad of things that go across the board daily.
You were paid for that work, correct?
Very poorly.
What were you paid? Was it $1,500 a week to start?
Kidding?
Is that what?
No, I wish. My God. No, it was not. She paid me $25 an hour to start off with, and she finally agreed after screaming abuse at me that she would pay me $50,000 a year once I went to full-time. And this was after me working for well over 10 years as a personal assistant. So it was very insulting to me, but I did it anyway because I had grandfathered in the ability to pick up my son from school and bring him to work with me at 3 o'clock.
Hey, Dan Bailey, how you doing, man?
And you could have left Ms. Heard's employment at any time, correct?
Yes.
You were based in Los Angeles when you were providing personal assistant services to Ms. Heard, right?
I have always lived in Los Angeles since 1999.
So you didn't travel with Ms. Heard when she was out of town, correct?
That was another part of our agreement, that I wouldn't travel with her because of my child.
And she was out of town quite a bit, right?
Not really.
Not really? How many weeks a year would you estimate Ms. Heard was out of town while you worked for her?
Well, you're talking almost 10 years ago, so I can't tell you quite honestly.
But when she was out of town, you wouldn't see, you never traveled with her, right?
No.
How much did you see Mr. Depp over the course of your employment with Ms. Heard?
regularly.
How many times? Well, obviously you didn't see him when he was out of town, right?
No.
When he was in town, would you see him daily, weekly, monthly? What would you estimate?
There is no rhyme or reason to answer that question.
Now, you never witnessed any violence between Miss Heard or Mr. Depp, right?
No.
And Miss Heard never told you that she had been violent to Mr. Depp, correct?
No.
You had knowledge that Miss Heard and Mr. Depp had arguments, correct?
No.
Miss Heard never told you that she and Mr. Depp had arguments?
Occasionally she'd send a text message complaining about her mental state, but is never clear exactly what was going on.
Oh, I'd love to see those text messages. What were those text messages that Amber Heard sent to Kate James complaining about her mental state? What would they be?
So you never...
It was like, I remember she would text me complaining about her mental state, and that was about it. I don't have any of the text messages, so it's hard to remember.
Do you recall hearing anything about an alleged incident between Amber and Johnny on a flight from Boston to LA around this time frame?
Like I said, I remember that day very well.
And to follow up on that, I'm not asking just about what Amber may have told you. I'm just trying to drill down generally to what you may have heard, whether from Amber or Johnny or anyone, about that flight. Does that make sense? So can you tell us, what do you remember hearing about that flight, or what happened or didn't happen on that flight from Boston to LA?
Don't know.
Sitting here today, you don't remember anything that you heard about that?
I don't know. I wasn't on the plane. I just know what happened afterwards, okay? When she asked me to come and meet her at the Chateau.
Did you think to ask her if she was okay?
You know, I probably did, because that's my role, to play a caregiver. That's all I can imagine.
Oh, I love the way she answered that.
So what do you remember about...
Yeah. I love the way she answered that. Did you ask Miss Heard if she was okay? Yeah, I probably did, because that's my role, to play a caregiver to this spoilt Hollywood brat.
This day that you alluded to earlier?
Mostly my surprise that they went to the Chateau Marmont, because Amber had an apartment of her own in West Hollywood that was like completely set up and available to her. So that was my biggest confusion. Like, why did she go to the Chateau? And then she asked me to get her bathing suit. I remember that. So I had to go to her apartment to get her bathing suit, which again seems strange to me. And then what also seemed strange is when I got there, she had a bunch of friends with her. And originally I thought she was alone.
Did, when you refer to Amber's apartment, are you referring to the apartment on Orange Avenue?
Yes, yeah.
And isn't it true that Mr. Depp would spend time in that apartment with Amber time to time, correct?
Well, I don't really know what the question is in relation to that. He wasn't there at that time, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, no, that's not my question. My question was just, over the course of your employment, you have knowledge of Mr. Depp spending time at that Orange Avenue apartment,
They spent
right?
time there, and at his residences, they would go around different places, yeah.
Were you concerned about Miss Heard and her well-being on this day?
No, because it had become a pattern with her, and so I was...
Are these the same eyeglasses that Johnny wore in Fear and Loathing? It's pretty similar, right? Should we bring up a picture?
merely placating her, I would say, and especially when I saw she was there with about 4 or 5 girlfriends and basically having fun, enjoying each other down by the pool. That's why she needed a swimsuit.
Okay. Here's Kate James. And here's... Alright. How do we... Hang on. Wait. Just wait. Oh! What is this AIVF? New image format. It never... Doesn't matter. And open in new tab. It's a special format. It's a new generation format, and we cannot share your picture on this streaming software. Okay? So why don't you just put your picture in a JPEG format and let us ruin your stream, ruin your live, ruin your life. Got it? Exactly the same glasses as Kate James. Pretty much. You know, heavy on the eye, big nose bridge.
And her well-being on this day?
No, because it had become a pattern with her, and so I was merely placating her, I would say, and especially when I saw she was there with about 4 or 5 girlfriends and basically having fun, enjoying each other down by the pool. That's why she needed a swimsuit. And then they proceeded to hang there all day drinking while I sat around waiting with my son. Actually, I think it was a Sunday that day.
Hey, Spacey Dove. And hey, Rise of Phoenix and Linny and everybody in chat. Carrie Brooke. Good to see you, Carrie. Amy.
I remember we had to wait all day and while they just hung around drinking by the pool. And then finally I went home, and finally she went back to her apartment, and then she wanted me to go back and pack her bag for her at about 10 o'clock at night on Sunday, and I said I couldn't go. By that point I'd already spent the whole day sitting there, so I said I couldn't go and pack her bag because I'd already put my son to bed, and she was very angry about that. I remember that.
Okay, so when you asked her if she was okay, you didn't actually care if she was okay. You said you were just placating her, right?
It was a standard procedure at this point. She was a very dramatic person. So
you didn't actually think that there was anything that Amber was actually upset, correct?
As I said, it just didn't make sense that she went to the chateau instead of going home. That was the first red flag for me that day. You know?
So you came to the conclusion that day that she actually wasn't upset. Is that what you're saying?
It's too much. I mean, I already answered once.
What I'm asking is, did you come to the conclusion that there was nothing wrong with Miss Heard that day and that she wasn't actually upset?
I don't know how to answer. I mean, it's such a strange question. Like they said, you already asked me and I already answered.
You know, she clearly has had legal coaching. It's a standard objection, asked and answered, right? You know, I'm sure that Johnny's team are aware that Miss James here, the personal assistant of Amber Heard, at the points in time that are relevant to these proceedings, Johnny's team will be aware of Kate's distaste for Amber Heard will have seen it as an opportunity and will have met with her to discuss bolstering her testimony to their perspective on the matters in question, right? And there's nothing illegal about that. There's nothing... Well, is it shady? I guess you might call it shady, but... She's under oath, and I don't believe that she's lying under oath. I don't believe that Johnny's team has said, hey, listen, you need to go and lie under oath. You know, it's more of a case of Johnny's team saying, Amber has lawyers, and although they're not as good as us, they've got training. They're going to try and twist your shit. They're going to try and twist your story in their favor. And we know that you don't want that to happen because you know the truth. So these are some techniques and things you need to watch out for when they're trying to twist your shit in their favor. And asked and answered is one of those things that you're going to have to look out for. And we see this throughout Kate James' testimony. Just examine that bit again. Just another 20 seconds or so.
What I'm asking is, did you come to the conclusion that there was nothing wrong with Miss Heard that day and that she wasn't actually upset?
I don't know how to answer. I mean, it's such a strange question. Like they said, you already asked me and I already answered.
I'm asking you to answer it again. I don't think I asked the exact same question, but do your best, please.
Could you ask me the question in a different way or a clearer way that is not exactly the same as the last question you asked me?
Did you reach the conclusion that day that Miss Heard hadn't experienced anything traumatic?
Over the course of the day, I observed Miss Heard enjoying the company.
That is a strange question. Let's think about the question, because I think it's really good. You know, the legal process, the legal framing of questions, it is like it is for a reason. And sometimes it's a little bit tedious. You know, things have to move in a certain way, right? But they have to move in a certain way because in our society, that is our best acknowledgement, agreement of how to make things crystal clear. That's what's important in the legal world, right? You ever read through fucking terms and conditions through your phone for your phone contract or something like that? It's a nightmare. It doesn't make any sense to a normal person that just wants to know what the deal is, right? And it has to be that way because when it comes to legality, that's the best way that we as a society have made an agreement that can be accepted by courts and by judges to make things clear. And the question was, I've talked so much now, I've forgotten what the question was. The question was, did you reach a conclusion that day that nothing bad had happened to Miss Heard? So, the reason I'm uncomfortable with that question, if that is what it was, if it's not exact, I'm mildly paraphrasing, but the prospect of reaching a conclusion would require some kind of need for that action, right? If there is the absence of concern, have you reached a conclusion that there is no need for concern? There isn't a need to reach a conclusion because there has been no concern, right? I mean, it's like saying when you... What is it like saying? It's like saying when you... It's difficult to think. Let me hear the question again.
Best, please.
Could you ask me the question in a different way or a clearer way that is not exactly the same as the last
All right, can you ask me the question in a clearer way? And this is what he does.
question you asked me?
Did you reach the conclusion that day that Miss Heard hadn't experienced anything traumatic?
Did you reach a conclusion that day that Miss Heard had not experienced anything traumatic? Now, if I said to you, Carrie Brooke, that when you went to bed this evening, did you reach a conclusion that there was not a horse's head in your bed? You wouldn't have reached that conclusion, would you? Because there would be no need to have that as a prospect of a possibility. You know, it's... You would only reach a conclusion if there were an object to be discovered or to find out, or some kind of need, you know. If someone had said to Kate James previously, hey, listen, when you go back tonight, I think there'll be, you know, something traumatic might have happened to Miss Heard, she would have gone there with that prospect in mind and may or may have not reached the conclusion that there was or was not something that had traumatically happened to Miss Heard. But without that proposition, there would be no need to reach or not reach a conclusion. It just wouldn't exist. Just like the horse's head does not exist in Carrie Brooke's bed.
Over the course of the day, I observed Miss Heard enjoying the company of her friends for several hours. That's all I have to say on that matter.
And would it be odd for someone who's experienced trauma to want to be around friends? To you?
Yeah.
Again, a dirty question, a useless question, would it be odd to you for someone who has experienced trauma to want to be around friends? Calls for expert testimony, calls for clinical assessment. It's just the stupidest question. You know?
Have to say on that matter.
And it makes me wonder if... Oh, well, let's see what it has.
And would it be odd for someone who's experienced trauma to want to be around friends? To you?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, in any event, you said you sat around at the Chateau Marmont. Is that right?
Yes, well, she was deciding what to do.
Now, you were being paid for that time, correct?
Not overtime. It was a Sunday. I was not being paid, no.
Did you avail yourself of anything at the hotel? Like, did you order any food?
No.
Did you
I might have ordered some food for my son, actually, to be honest, now I think about it, because he was only little at the time. I think he was, 5 or something. So I might have ordered food for my son. I'm not a big eater. Food is not a huge priority for me.
would you have put that on Miss Heard's tab that day?
Everything was on Depp's tab that day, so no.
On Johnny's tab?
Yes.
Let's bring up the document entitled, or that ends in 6151, please.
Showing exhibit 3 on the screen.
When she wrote, "I love you," and you wrote, "Love you too, hon, won't be long, X," was that just placating Miss Heard?
Standard friendly text exchange in my role of work.
Were you trying to be supportive at all, or just placating her?
A bit of both, I guess.
Did you have any concern whatsoever about Miss Heard's well-being that day?
No.
When was the first time that you remember Miss Heard telling you that all wasn't right in the relationship between her and Mr. Depp?
I don't recall exactly when it started, but it was usually her complaining and crying due to, I would say, insecurities within the relationship more than anything else. She would be very, very insecure a lot of the time, and she would call me up crying. I remember one time she called me when she was alone in New York City, and she was crying and walking around the street crying. And he wasn't there. She was alone, but I said to her she needed to go inside because I was worried that the paparazzi might take a photo of her, and she was in a very dysregulated state. And so just out of kindness, I said to her it's better if she went inside rather than walking around crying in public. I remember that, but I don't remember exactly when that was. It might have been 2012 or 2013. As the job went on, we called each other less and less and did mostly text messaging. It was all text messaging we did.
Did you ever believe that Mr. mistreated her?
No.
So, and why not?
Just never any evidence of it at all. I was there almost daily in both her place and then eventually at his place in West Hollywood, and then ultimately at the lofts downtown. It was a daily basis experience, morning, noon, night, all days of the week. So, I mean, I never once saw any evidence of anything.
Did Miss Heard ever tell you that Johnny had hit her?
No.
Did she ever tell you that Johnny had pulled her hair or pushed her?
No.
Let me ask it a little bit differently. You never believed Miss Heard that Mr. Depp had mistreated her. Is that correct?
At the time or after? I never believed it. In what context are you talking about? During my employ or afterward?
During your...
No, never. And there was never any damage to the apartment that I witnessed. There was never any aftermath of anything ever that I ever saw.
Now, you, of course, have no personal knowledge one way or the other whether Johnny was abusive to her, correct?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, because if it was true, I would have seen the damage, even if I wasn't physically present in the moment of these alleged arguments.
And what's your basis for that statement?
Well, if someone's been beaten, there's generally physical evidence.
So your testimony is that if there was no physical evidence that you observed, then it couldn't have happened, the domestic violence by Johnny toward Amber. Is that your testimony?
No.
Well, I'm trying to understand what your testimony is. Maybe you could clarify for me, Ms. James. Is your testimony that you never saw firsthand evidence of Johnny being violent to Amber, that it couldn't have happened?
That's not what I said. You're trying to put words into my mouth. I don't appreciate that.
Can you pull up the document that is, well, let me see what it ends with here. It's the Depp 11432, please.
Showing Exhibit 4 on the screen.
Can we?
Yeah, Carrie says it sounds like a miserable job, doesn't it? You know, doesn't it? Just a run around. Go and pack my bag. Go and pack my bag and get my car ready. You've put your son to bed, have you? Well, I need my bag to be packed, so bring your son and make him sit there in a chair while I stare at him hostilely.
Could you pause for a moment,
I'll
please?
direct your attention to the
Okay.
Hey, Brian, hope you're feeling better, man.
This is a document that we're just looking for the corresponding trial exhibit. You could just bear with us for 1 minute, and then we'd like to move for admission of it.
All right. What's the number on it?
That's what we're trying to figure
Okay.
out. Sorry for the delay. Your Honor, it's trial exhibit 844.
All right. And that's defendant's 844?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 844. Any objection to 844?
Hey, Bethany Bez. How you doing? Good to see you, Bethany Bez. Bethany Bez says, Metrix, just found your channel and I'm obsessed. I'm waiting to catch you live. I've been waiting to catch you live. Well, here you are. I mean, it's a short one. It's going to be a short one tonight. And it's our double live today, so I don't know if I'm up to that much. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, if we reach our goal. Goal in the chat, guys. Let's reach that goal. And tomorrow we've got Gerard Murray. Second place in our poll for tonight's show. It's going to be a great show. It's a genuine reason for insanity case out of Oklahoma. And yeah, it's a wonderful interrogation, good, interesting backstory, and an even better ongoing story. I mean, what happened to this guy is unbelievable. What he did is unbelievable. And we're going to be checking that out tomorrow. So make sure everyone subscribe to the channel. Don't miss a beat of True Crime Metrix, okay?
All right, if you want to approach, then. No. If somebody has a copy of 844 for me.
Can
Oh, we'll get it. We'll get 844.
electronically?
That's all right. Oh, we'll get it.
Thanks.
box at the bottom. Do you see your name, Kate?
Just love Judge Penny. Look at Judge Penny right here. Everything she does, I just love it. Does anybody know in chat if Judge Penny has been on any other, cases that are available to the public? Because anything she's ruling on, I would love to see.
In that, the column labeled participants?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is this a text message that you received from Mr. Depp on or around August 13th, 2016?
Yes.
And it appears that he's responding to something that you had sent him, correct?
I don't know.
You see where he says, "Thank you, sweetheart"?
Yes.
He's directing that to you, right?
It looks like there's someone else CC'd on this text, so it could be to that person. I honestly don't know. I can't answer your question.
Could we please pause the video?
All right, could you pause for a second, please? Thank you. He already did. That was good. Thank you.
Nice work.
Can you switch
Your
to?
Honor, I'd like to.
We'll switch
we can
to-
our.
okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Not yet, but don't, not yet. Don't. Make sure it's set right before you publish it. All right.
And Your Honor, with the stipulation that we'll prepare a redacted version to be entered into evidence that has other personal identifiers redacted, we'd ask for permission to publish, to admit this into evidence and publish to the jury.
All right. The objections are noted, and we will get the redacted copy. All right? So,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you just blow it up, Heather?
All right, sir. All right.
Hey. Oh, I just saw the messages on Discord from Kim, and I just want to say that really thinking about you, Kim. For anyone who doesn't know, Kim, one of our key family members on True Crime Metrix, her partner, her life partner, is suffering from cancer and has gone into a bit of a bad way, it looks like. And as they're heading to the hospital, and all sorts of stuff is going on with jaundice. I'm really sorry to hear this, Kim, and I hope everyone that's listening to the show can send out good vibes, good thoughts, good prayers for Kim and her partner, and to just send them the strength to get through this. Kim, if you ever need to just talk to someone, Kim, if you want someone to listen, you know where I am, okay? You can call me anytime. Love you, Kim.
Ready to continue?
Ready to resume with the video. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Do you see where he says, we'll hit you when I get back, doll, come over for a spot of purple and we'll fix her flabby ass nice and good?
Yep.
Come over for a spot of purple means come over for a drink of wine, right?
I don't know.
That's what you understood it to mean, correct?
I don't know.
Lucian, can you...
Johnny Depp's always talking in these very Hunter S. Thompson, Charles Bukowski, poetic phraseology. Come over for a spot of purple. Does anyone ever say that? Ever? No one says that, ever. Right? Come over for a spot of purple. A glass of red wine? A glass of $1,700 bottle of red wine? Yeah, all right. Sounds good.
Can you pull up the documents labeled UK Trial Day 7 James testimony, please? And Ms. James, you remember giving testimony in the trial in the UK, right?
Well, there'd be something wrong with me if I didn't.
And in
I'm gonna
that,
need order in the court.
when you gave that testimony, you gave it under oath, correct?
Yes.
Lucian, can you please go to page 39 of the PDF? And can you please blow up the page that is labeled 1221? And on line 7, Ms. James, am I reading this right, that you were asked the question, and he is inviting you over for a spot of purple. What is that? Yes is your answer. Question, what did you understand? And you answered red wine, I imagine. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Remember giving that testimony?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is it your understanding that Mr. Depp was inviting you over for wine at some point after he split up from Ms. Heard?
And just speculation.
Did you meet up with Mr. Depp for red wine? around the time period of this text on August 13th, 2016?
I did meet up with him, but we did not drink red wine, no.
Was anyone else present for that meeting?
No.
When he said, come over for a spot of purple and we'll fix her flabby ass, you understood him to be referring to Miss Heard when he said, we'll fix.
Come over for a spot of purple and we'll fix her flabby ass. I love that Amber has to listen to this. What does that even mean?
Fix her flabby ass, correct?
Yeah, it wasn't for me to speculate what he was referring to.
And I'm not asking for you to speculate what he was referring to. I'm asking for your understanding was that he was talking to Miss Heard, correct? You can answer.
There isn't an answer. I mean, this is the way he writes. It's very random and you don't sort of question it, okay? It's just the way he writes. He writes in a very abstract way.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
say.
Lucian, if you can just pull up the prior testimony that we just looked at. Ms. James, isn't it true that on line 12 of page 1221, you were asked the question, red wine, and not only to come over for a spot of purple, but to fix her flabby ass. That was about Miss Heard, was it not? And on line 14, you answered yes, yes. Do you see that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you did understand this to be referring to Miss Heard, correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you said no?
Just trying to be agreeable in the court, having no clue what on earth is going on. So there you go. I have no clue.
Was that answer in the court truthful or just agreeable?
Just being agreeable.
So it wasn't truthful? You can answer.
I don't have an answer for you, Mr. Rottenborn.
What did you and Mr. Depp talk about at that meeting that you recall?
I don't recall details.
Just tell me generally everything you recall.
It's too long ago, Mr. Rottenborn. I don't recall.
Do you recall anything?
No.
Where was the meeting?
At his residence in West Hollywood.
Is that his residence? What? I'm sorry.
In West Hollywood.
What time of day?
About 3 p.m.
So you recall the time of day, but you don't recall anything you discussed?
No, and I'm just saying, I know it was in the afternoon because it was after I picked my son up from school because my son went to swim in the pool with the security guards watching him while I went and had a brief conversation with Mr. Depp. That's the only reason I remember the time.
Did you talk about Miss?
Hey, Kelly O'Brien from Prince Edward Island. We gotta start a new map. We've already conquered the United States. We're heading to Canada. Prince Edward Island. Fantastic, Kelly. Good to see you.
Miss Heard?
Yes.
What did you discuss about Miss Heard?
Like I said, I don't recall the details.
Well, I'm just a little confused because you just testified you didn't remember anything, but now you remember that you did talk about Miss Heard. So what I'm trying to get is everything you remember about the conversation.
Well, you've got to understand, Mr. Rottenborn, the mutual connection between Mr. Depp and myself is, in fact, Miss Heard. So inevitably, that is going to be part of the conversation. That's all I remember. Okay?
Do you remember anything else about that conversation with Mr. Depp?
No.
Have you seen?
That's one of my favourite lines from everything that we've covered, Bethany Bears. I'm not going to be a broken piece of glass, sir. And he says it with such conviction, as if we're all supposed to understand what the fuck that means. We went through a whole thing about it on this channel. We were like, hey, what does that mean? Is it a threat? Is he saying he's fragile or dangerous or jagged or broken? what does it mean? Like, if you were to say a synonymous sentence to compare, what would that sentence be? Or is it all of them together? Oh, it's beautiful. It needs to be a merchandise product. We need mugs. We need goddamn T-shirts. We need baby grows. We need bath mats. We need shower caps. Everything needs to say, "I'm not gonna be a broken piece of glass, sir." That's what it needs to say.
Seen Mr. Depp since that conversation. Now, what's your, just describe generally your educational background, please.
Wax Poetic is another one that's coming out soon in the merch shop at merch.truecrimemetrics.com. Yes, we have that domain. Can you imagine how good that domain is? It's right there. It's full. It's full of stuff. It's full of stuff ready for you right now. And more is coming. We got Wax Poetic coming. We got Broken Piece of Glass coming. We got everything coming.
I completed high school and then I went straight into becoming a veterinary nurse when I left school, which I did for approximately 3 to 4 years before I left Australia.
Do you have any sort of specialized training in veterinary medicine or nursing?
Only on the ground experience, 4 years in a clinic.
So you don't have any experience with medical training for humans, right?
No.
And you don't have any training in healthcare, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I might need to give Amber a couple of injections at times, you know, to help her calm down, to help her be more rational, you know, like a rabid dog.
Could you be more specific?
You don't have any training in healthcare for people, correct?
I didn't need any. I didn't need any healthcare training for people when I was dealing with Amber, because it was just like dealing with a rabid dog, okay?
I'm not a human nurse, if that's your question. I don't really understand your question.
Sorry, you don't have any training related to prescription drugs, do you?
No.
And you have no basis.
Excuse me, only pertaining to animals. Yes, I would like to add that.
Okay, and that was the training that you received on the job in Australia before you came to the U.S.?
Amongst other things, yeah.
Amongst other things, yeah.
you familiar with Miss Heard taking prescriptions for Accutane and Provigil, among other things, correct?
Objection.
You are not, you never served as a nurse or a doctor.
Hey, thanks so much, Molly, for that wonderful, 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 super, 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 super chat.
Doctor to Miss Heard, right?
No.
That's 1 out of 10, guys. Can we get, I mean, it would just be so great to just, you know, for everyone to show the community how much they want to see Gerard Murray in the hot seat. We're doing it anyway, but if we've got your backing, it just, you know, what it does is it tells me that you love what we're doing. And if I know that you love what we're doing, it's just such a better feeling for all of us, especially me, which means it's a better feeling for you. So let's do that. Why don't we do that right now? Add to the goal.
And you have no medical knowledge to testify whether Miss Heard used Provigil or Accutane in the way her doctors instructed, correct?
No.
And you're not an expert on the interaction of prescription drugs and alcohol or other drugs, correct?
No.
Did you, during the course of your employment, develop any personal knowledge of Mr. Depp's use of alcohol or drugs?
Hey, Carrie, what's this? It says Molly and then a cactus. Hey there, thank you, love heart. So the cactus... Oh no, that's just her name. Okay, I thought you put that. Thank you, Molly Cactus.
Not firsthand.
Oh,
And what do you
here she
mean by
is.
not firsthand?
Here she is, Soap. Look, Soap. Soap, who is it? Your favorite Canadian is in the house. The lady with the golden whisk. Welcome back, Victoria girl. How you doing? We saved a seat for you.
Well, I worked with Amber. I didn't work with him.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp using illegal drugs?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp abuse alcohol?
No.
Did you ever speak with Dr. Kipper?
No.
Did you ever speak with...
Does anyone else think that Dr. Kipper was a complete charlatan? Can you imagine? I mean, wasn't there a bit where Johnny Depp was saying, do you know how much I pay Kipper a year? $5 million. All Dr. Kipper does is follow him round and, you know, write questionable prescriptions. Isn't that just a drug dealer? I mean, a basic drug dealer. You know. Dr. Kipper, what are you doing?
Aaron Borum?
What is your role, Dr. Kipper? Tell us. You know, roles and responsibilities. Daily duties. Go.
Yes.
And Aaron Borum was a nurse who worked for Dr. Kipper, right?
She was assigned to Amber. That's
sorry.
how I spoke to her.
I'm sorry.
She was assigned to Amber. That's how I came to be speaking to her.
And she also provided medical services to Johnny, right?
I don't know.
What do you recall speaking to Aaron Borum about?
So this is weird. Victoria Girl's very kind super chat. Underneath it says, let's celebrate their 5th super on a live stream. It's way more than 5 from you, Victoria Girl. I think we've had 5 on one stream from fantastic Canadian Victoria Girl. But also, hey, look, another girl, Golfer Girl. We've gone from Victoria to Golfer. Well, thank you so much, Golfer Girl, for your wonderful super chat. Or sticker. Is that a sticker or a chat? I don't know the difference.
Just random chit-chat in the course of the day, nothing specific.
Do you recall ever forming any concern in your own mind about any of Mr. Depp's behavior in his relationship with Amber?
Never.
Oh, it's just going to turn into another thank you show. But thank you so much, Bethany Bez, for your wonderful super chat. Now I have to research who Gerard Murray is. Oh, it's going to be great. Don't even worry about it. We're going to fill you in fully tomorrow. We just need another 7 supers on our fucking wonderful True Crime Metrix goal at the top. Can we get to 10? We've got 3 out of 10 already. So I think we can do it. I think we can do it in one show. And then we got fantastic Gerard Murray. But don't worry, even if we don't get 10, we're still doing it because it was the second most wanted subject of our poll tonight, guys. Because at True Crime Metrix, the audience decides.
Nothing you heard, nothing you witnessed, nothing you saw during your time with Miss Heard ever gave you an inkling of concern about Mr. Depp's behavior toward Amber?
Never.
Hey, Victoria Girl, your new phone, what is it? because I went to the shop today and I had a look at the iPhone. You know, some of you may know that my current cell phone is fucked. It is a nightmare. I cannot click anything and it just doesn't work, right? And I cannot wait to smash it with a hammer, which I will do on a live publicly. I thought about, you know, when you're going to get a new phone, or maybe I'll take the SIM card out of this one and, you know, keep it in a drawer for a backup, or if I ever need one. No. A fucking mallet. A mallet hammer, smashing it publicly on a live stream. But I did go to the shop today and I had a look at the iPhone 16 Pro Max 500 gigabyte, whatever. And it was 1,400 euros. I mean, what the fuck? How? I've never spent that much on a car. Right? It's a fucking phone. Okay, you know, I mean, what kind of phone did you get, Victoria? I guess is my question. And is it really, really good? Is it worth $1,400 or euros or whatever?
Now,
hey, right in, locked and loaded. Okay, sorry, I've got to stop interrupting, guys. I know I get carried away. And we are focused on the content. It's just, it's so busy in the chat. It's so nice. And hello, Ryden.
You left your employment, your employment with Amber ended in early 2015, correct?
Yeah, just after they came back from the wedding on the island.
Did Miss Heard terminate your employment?
When Miss Heard came back from the island, she informed me that she now needed to support her mother because her mother could no longer work after a diagnosis, a medical diagnosis, and she told me she could no longer afford to pay me since she had to support her mother, and therefore she would have to terminate my employment to support her family.
And did you resent Miss Heard for that, for terminating your employment?
I would have been nice to have been given some notice, so I had some time to look around. So I was a little upset for the lack of notice. But apart from that, no, I was not upset.
Miss Heard gave you 6 weeks of severance pay, correct?
I don't recall.
Did you want to stay in the job for Miss Heard?
Well, I did ask if I could have a few months heads up so I could seek another job that would suit the terms of my employment, but she did not allow that.
And that made you angry, correct?
No.
Did you ask to be put on Mr. Depp's payroll so that you could remain being paid by Miss Heard or Mr. Depp?
Well, when she said she couldn't afford it, I said, now you're married, couldn't I go on to Depp's payroll? And she said, no, it was part of a legal agreement they had that she was not allowed to do that. I don't know whether that was true or not.
You ever asked Mr. Depp whether you could go on his payroll?
No.
Isn't it true that you asked to live in one of Mr. Depp's houses rent-free for a period of time after your employment?
Well, you see, I'm a homeowner, but I want to be clear. I didn't want to miss a mortgage payment due to unemployment. So my idea is perhaps I could find an alternate accommodation in order to rent out my house so I don't lose my entire property. I'm a homeowner. Keeping my home and my payments up to date is the paramount importance to me.
Isn't it true that you had already skipped about 1.5 years of mortgage payments on your home during the time you were employed by Miss Heard?
No.
Let's pull up the document ending in ALH 5858, please.
Sound Exhibit 11 on the screen.
You know, sometimes I look at this chat and things pop into my head that I want to say. And then another voice in my own head says, don't say that. This is public. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Filter, you know, it's like a professional filter. But yeah, is it a Pro Max? Yeah, you got the 16, but is it Pro Max? Or if you just get the Pro but not the Max, is that still good? Or is it too small? Because personally, I think my phone at the moment, which I don't even know what it is a little too big. You know. It just... Does it need to be this big? I mean, I guess it's nice to have the big screen if, like, I'm watching a video. But how often do I do that on my phone? Not that much. Not that much at all. So, you know, maybe we should just go for the Pro and not the Max. Or is it the other way around? Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to find out what to do.
Yeah, I think you've read everything. So if you're ready for me to ask you questions, my first question is just: is this an email exchange between you and Amber relating to the termination of your employment?
Yeah, this is the email I received when she terminated me.
And then the emails above in this document are, some of which are duplicated, are an email.
Hey, Kim. Good to see you. Listen, I saw the stuff on Discord, and I asked everybody in the chat to send all their positive vibes to you and your partner. I'm sorry, is it Mike? I think it's Mike. With what you're going through, and really feel for you, Kim. Big heart, big love, big strong, be strong, everyone's strong, and, you know, you just gotta keep on getting through the stuff, right?
Exchange that you had with Amber after you received the termination email.
Yeah, when I woke up that morning, yeah.
Can you go to the first page, please? Top of the document.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it true that Miss Heard did pay you 6 extra weeks of pay after your termination?
She's stating that, but I don't recall if it actually happened or not.
Can you guys hear me chewing? I'm having some leftover Nepali food, and but I know how annoying it is to hear people chew when you're trying to listen to witness testimony. Okay, so I'm trying to do it quietly, but I can mute if it becomes an issue.
You don't have personal knowledge one way or the other, or a recollection of whether she did?
No.
And isn't it true that you do tell her in this email that you didn't pay your mortgage for the first year and a half that you were working for her?
Yes,
correct?
I had one of those balloon mortgages, so I had to go through a loan modification, and I recall now that that's why I was able to agree to work for her for such a small amount of money than what I normally made. It was sort of as a favour almost.
What was a favor?
To work for her for like half my usual paycheck, basically.
So you were doing Amber a favor?
Yes, because initially it was described as a part-time, 20-hour week.
I love how she's just blatantly and ruthlessly calling Amber cheap as shit, right? She tried to pay me $25 an hour. I mean, in dollars, that's pretty much minimum wage, isn't it? You know, a hop picker makes more than that.
thing with flexibility and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I thought it's not really in my caliber, but my son was only 4 at the time, so it seemed like a good idea, especially because I wasn't paying my mortgage, so I could take the hit by getting less pay than I would normally make. And that way I could also have the time with my son that I wanted.
Are you, and I think the answer to this is no, but I just want to be clear. You're not blaming Amber for you're not paying your mortgage, right?
No, that was my choice. That was the only way I could get a loan modification. Was the way it worked back then. But you know the 2008 crash, that's how it worked back then. If you wanted to save property. Well,
and you started working for Amber in 2012, right?
Yes, it took a long time, the loan modification process.
And you're not blaming Amber for getting a credit card with 29% interest, are you?
What?
You see in your email on that first page, about 2/3 of the way down, you say, I have borrowed from my mom my tenant's security deposit, and now I have used up a credit card I should use as it has 29% interest.
Oh, that's my choice.
Did you have tenants in your property at that time?
I have a duplex. I'm just trying, and that time, yes, I had tenants in one house and I was living in the other.
Did you use those tenants' security deposit for personal expenses?
I don't remember.
Do you see where you say, I have borrowed from my mom my tenant's security deposit? Do you recall using your tenant's security deposit or borrowing from that?
It's too long ago for me to recall if it actually happened.
Would there be a reason that you would have said that if it wasn't true?
No.
And isn't it true that you did ask to live rent-free in one of Johnny's houses after you were terminated, right?
Lots of people did.
And isn't it true that you did?
Yes.
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 And did
Lots of people did. Like Rocky Pennington, like Io, like Rocky's boyfriend, the chef man who cooked the Mexican food. Everyone wanted to live in the, was it Columbia building? Yeah, can we have Penthouse 4? We think we like Penthouse 4. We tried Penthouse 3. But, yeah, there wasn't enough space. So, what about if we... How about this? If we took Penthouse 4 and 3 and maybe made a through wall between the two, then we could have the space we need in your house, in both penthouses. Okay? How about that? Now Mr. Rottenborn's trying to say, like, wasn't it true, ma'am, that you tried to live in one of Mr. Depp's houses? Such a load of bullshit, right? They're trying to make her look like this. They're trying to make her look exactly like what Amber's friends were and or are. Wow. Have you ever heard so many conjunctives in a row? Were and or are. I like that. Maybe that should be a new piece of merch for our English linguistics. Oh, hello, look, we've got a fantastic coffee. Thank you, someone. Family forever. Is that you, Kim? There's only 2 people that call themselves someone on coffee. Yeah. It's Kim. I knew it. I knew it from your message, Kim. Family forever. Why? Because we're family forever. Yeah, no. No, seriously, Kim. We're all with you, babe. Let's go back a couple of seconds, guys. I just want to hear this question again because Kate James, the assistant here, is so good at recognizing the tricks. You know, I'm sure that she's had legal coaching from Johnny's team. 100%. you know, probably 20 to 30 hours of legal coaching, terms, tricks, strategies, you know, intent. You know, Johnny's team will have analysed every intent that Amber's lawyers would have with this witness and others, but we're talking about this witness. They'd have analysed the intents. They would have identified the strategies that they would employ to get into that intent, right? And clued Kate James in to deal with those strategies. And that is not illegal. It's not dishonest. It's not against the system. It's preparation of a witness. That's what it's called. Okay? And it's fine. And if your fucking lawyers are better on the other side and do more work and know more, that's why they cost more money. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that simple.
Did that ever come to pass?
No.
Did it make you angry that that didn't happen?
No.
It's fair to say at the time that your employment was terminated, you were in fairly significant financial trouble, correct?
Yes.
And you were angry with Amber for terminating you at this time when you were in financial trouble, correct?
No.
See at the bottom of your email on page 2, you say, Max and I love you very much, as the sign off to your email.
Yes.
And Max is your son, right?
Yes.
That wasn't true, correct? In fact, you didn't love Amber. You didn't like her, did you?
Any close relationship has ebbs and flows in the energy that you feel towards one another. It's pretty standard.
And at that point in time, you, well, since your termination, you've had nothing but animosity toward Miss Heard, correct?
No, I actually bumped into her at the P.O. box about 3 months after, and she was in her Range Rover, and I saw her sister, and she said, come say hi to Amber. And I went back there, and I was going to say hi, but she was on the phone, and she was saying, wait, but then I had to go. That's the only time I've ever seen her, but I wanted to go and say hi.
Even socially, Amber is on the phone waiting for her Range Rover, saying, wait, just a minute. True to form, Amber. Yeah. There's a certain type of person that should not be afforded the type of lifestyle that Hollywood situations call for, right? And I'm sure everybody has their moments where they're impatient with a servant, or frustrated with a paparazzi, or whatever it is. You know, everyone has a bad day. Everyone treats another person like shit from now and again, you know? Not always intentionally, but with Amber, it's not necessarily intentionally. It's just a byproduct of her own sense of selfish entitlement and lies. Right? I mean, that's what it is. So we can just call it like it is, right?
I wasn't feeling like I wanted to avoid her or anything. You know, things happen and life goes on, you know.
I understand you're a personal assistant, Miss James. What type of people do you work for?
High-profile celebrities.
Are they celebrities in the entertainment industry?
Yes.
You previously testified that in March of 2012, you worked as a personal assistant for Miss Heard, yes?
Yes.
In total, how long did you work for Ms. Heard as her personal assistant?
Almost 3 years.
And at the time you were hired in March of 2012, had you ever heard of Ms. Heard?
No.
You previously testified today
Neither
that at
had
some point while working
I
for
had never heard of Miss Heard. It's one of the things that makes her name so funny, right? Who is Amber Heard? Has anyone heard of Heard? No one has heard of her. Heard. The only thing funnier is that if she was like, you know, a cow farmer or something, you know, and had a herd, so that she could have heard of the... shut up. It's not even funny.
Ms. Heard, you transitioned from working part-time to full-time. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When did that transition happen?
I don't recall specifically.
Specifically.
Do you think it happened within the first year of your employment?
I believe it happened within around 6 months into the employment.
So most definitely it happened in the first year of your employment. Is that correct?
Yes.
You previously testified that you stopped working for Ms. Heard as her person.
Who is speaking right now? Who is asking Kate James the questions? Or is this a video of a deposition, right?
Assistant in February of 2015. Is that right?
Yes.
And you also testified that Ms. Heard let you go upon her return from the Bahamas in February of 2015. Yes?
It's Camille Vasquez's voice, I can hear that, but Camille's there and her mouth isn't moving. So either we're listening to a video in court or the lip sync's out.
Yes.
Did Ms. Heard ever give you any indication or warning that your employment might end upon her marriage to Mr. Depp?
No.
How did it make you feel when Ms. Heard terminated your employment without warning?
A bit of a shock, a bit of a feeling of being blindsided.
When you first began working for Ms. Heard, and when Ms. Heard was in town, in other words, not traveling, how many times per week would you see her?
Almost daily.
And did that change when you became a full-time personal assistant for Ms. Heard?
No.
Would you see Ms. Heard on the weekends as well?
Yes.
And when you would see Ms. Heard in person, did you coordinate with her when you would be seeing her?
No, I would arrive whenever it was necessary to bring stuff that I'd picked up on errands or whatnot. There was no given set schedule.
And when you say you would arrive, where would you arrive to?
It depended where she was at the time. Sometimes she was at Orange, sometimes she was at one of Johnny's houses on Sweetser, and then eventually they all moved down to the lofts downtown.
You previously testified that your work as being Ms. Heard's private assistant was extensive. Would you please tell us everything that you were responsible for?
Everything from handling all of her dry cleaning, picking up packages, mail, liaising with agents, other people in the industry, coordinating travel, making restaurant reservations,
Wow.
dealing with the staff.
Listen to this. I couldn't even do that amount of stuff for myself. That's too much. That'd take me a whole month. Let's hear it again. The list of jobs.
As being Ms. Heard's private assistant was extensive. Would you please tell us everything that you were responsible for?
Everything from handling all of her dry cleaning, picking up packages, mail, liaising with agents, other people in the industry, coordinating travel, making restaurant reservations, dealing with the staff, the vendors on the property, that sort of thing.
Did Miss Heard ever ask you to monitor press for her?
Yes.
What specifically did she ask you to do?
They're going to monitor the press
I
as
had
well?
a newsstand guy that was instructed to hold 2 copies of every magazine she appeared in. Was a newsstand on Sherborne Avenue, just off La Cienega, and he would hold them for me, and I would go there once a week to pick up a pile of magazines.
I'm sorry, you got muffled out. You said, and he would hold those for me
He
and
would hold them for me, and I would go approximately once a week to pick up whatever magazines Amber was featured in, 2 copies of each, which I would then store in her garage.
Why would you store them in Miss Heard's garage?
Because she didn't want Mr. Depp to see them.
Did she tell you why she didn't want Mr. Depp to see them?
No, she just got very angry with me one day because I hadn't quite made it downstairs to put them in the garage when she came home, and she went absolutely ballistic over that.
When you say she went absolutely ballistic over that, can you please describe what you mean?
Screaming, yelling, abuse.
Do you remember what she said to you?
No.
But it was abusive in your opinion?
Blind rage.
Blind rage. Yeah, it sounds like a lot what she did to Johnny on the recordings. Blind rage. Abuse. Blind abuse. Rage abuse.
Over the 3-year period in which you worked for Miss Heard, were you ever with Miss Heard when she was getting dressed or undressing?
All the time.
How often were you present when Miss Heard was getting dressed?
Every time she was getting dressed for a fitting, I would say 90% of the time I was there.
And just to clarify, was it just when Miss Heard was in fittings that you would see her in states of undress?
No, it was also in her apartment. She had no issue with walking around naked quite often.
Did you ever observe Miss Heard putting on makeup?
Yes.
How often did you see Miss Heard doing her makeup?
Just when she was getting ready to go out somewhere for a party or something.
And when you interacted with Miss Heard, and I understand it was quite frequent and regular, did it appear to you that she was wearing makeup?
She usually never wore makeup unless she was going to a special event.
And when she did go to special events, would you describe her makeup as heavy?
It would depend. It would, a makeup artist would do it, or if she would do it herself. If she did it herself, it would be light and usually adding lashes, and that's about it.
And I believe you previously
Is
testified to
that a
this.
way
So
to say that she was not very skilled? I think it is, isn't it?
I'm sorry for asking you again, but while you worked for Miss Heard, did you ever see any types of injuries on her?
No.
Did you ever see any cuts?
No.
Did you see bruises?
No.
Did you see swelling?
No.
Redness in her face?
No.
How about Miss Heard having black eyes?
Never.
A broken nose?
Never.
Missing hair clumps? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Ms. James.
Never.
Did you ever see Miss Heard cry?
Yes.
How often did you see her cry?
Hard to put a number on it. Sometimes she would cry on the phone. I think at least once or twice she might have cried on the phone. You know, and then as far as seeing her personally crying, you know, she was a pretty dramatic person. It's hard to really put a number on it.
I'm focusing on when you saw her in person crying. How many times do you believe that you saw her in person crying?
I would say...
This is the most damaging shit to Amber, like, for her sense of self. To have this subordinate assistant, worker, slave, come in here and tell the world, not just the judge, The prosecutor, the jury, the gallery, but the world. Everyone's watching. All of this is, how often would she cry? Well, she's a pretty dramatic person. It's hard to put a number on it. It's just so... It's one of the best testimonies of the trial, I think.
Twice, maybe? Twice?
Let's take that in bite sizes. The first time you saw Miss Heard cry in person, do you recall what she was crying about? Go ahead, Miss James.
Insecure emotions.
So the two times that you recall Miss Heard crying in front of you, you remember her crying about being insecure. Is that correct?
Yes.
You testified that she felt insecure about her relationship. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you expand on that? What do you mean by that?
She didn't like being away from his physical presence.
Did Miss Heard tell you that she felt insecure when Mr. Depp wouldn't be present with her?
Yeah.
Other than telling you she felt insecure about her relationship with Mr. Depp, what else did Miss Heard say about feeling insecure?
She told me she didn't like hanging out in his house with his friends because it was boring and they were all old men playing guitars and it wasn't interesting to her.
Yeah, well that's what happens when you marry someone 25 years older than you. They're all old men sitting around playing guitars. We've got fucking Keith Richard coming in here to die. Finally. They're all old men playing guitars. And I kind of like Johnny's face here. When he's like, I like playing guitars with my pals. My old pals.
Insecure.
She told me she didn't like hanging out in his house with his friends because it was boring and they were all old men playing guitars and it wasn't interesting to her.
Was Miss Heard dating Mr. Depp when you first started working for her?
Yes.
When did you first learn that Miss Heard was dating Mr. Depp?
After about a month, I think.
How did you learn that she was dating Mr. Depp?
She told me.
What did she tell you?
Oh my gosh.
She told me she was dating Johnny Depp.
Why don't you tell everybody what happened today, Soap? With that big dog. With that big dog who tried to take your lunch. Oh, he tried to take your lunch, Soap. And you said, no way. No way. No way. Oh. We gave him hell to pay, didn't we, Sup? He came around here, tried to take your lunch. Anyway, thank you so much to someone. Is that you again, Kim? Oh, it's Laura Lee. Thank you so much, Laura Lee, for that wonderful, 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 wonderful cup of Canadian. Mm-mm.
Do you recall the first time you met Mr. Depp?
Yes.
When was that?
It was in her apartment on Orange. Probably shortly after she told me she was dating him. He was standing in the dining room.
And approximately when was that?
I don't remember. I would say April or May of 2012.
What was your impression of Mr. Depp?
He was very peaceful, very calm, almost shy, and very quiet. And I remember he was wearing red suede shoes because I didn't know where else to look. I looked at his shoes. It was like it's a weird recollection, I know, but I'm just being honest.
Did you ever witness Mr. Depp be rude to anyone?
He's such a gentleman. He's like a total Southern gentleman. So no.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp lose his cool?
Which we learned about it. We learned about what that meant recently, the other day, when we covered a little bit of the Depp Heard trial. A Southern gentleman. What does it mean? What does it mean for true crime metrics? Well, apparently what it means is very chivalrous behavior. Holding open a door for your woman, or a woman, any woman. Opening a car door for your woman, or any woman. What else does it mean? Pulling out the chair at a dining table? Personally, I found that one a bit much. But apparently, you know, a certain number of our followers would be totally down for that. And if people are totally down for that, I'm totally down for it. I just wish women came with a sort of, you know, tattoo on their forehead or something that gave a code or a signal to say, I require a Southern gentleman, or I would find that kind of behavior completely insulting, because it's a mix, right? How are we supposed to know? I'm happy to perform these acts if they're required and liked. But if they're going to insult people, well, that's no good either. So, you know, are we supposed to guess? Or is part of being a Southern gentleman being able to identify when that action is required? I bet it is. And that's the part that I'm missing. You know, I just don't know. I just don't know. Right now?
No.
Did you ever see him scream at anyone?
No.
Did you ever see him break something?
Only in a video.
In your presence, did you ever see Mr. Depp break something intentionally?
Never break anything, never throw anything, always completely passive.
I believe you've testified previously.
Amber's team are going to be like, yeah, but that's behind closed doors, right? What about behind closed doors?
But you have a son, correct?
Yes.
How old was your son when you first started working for Ms. Heard?
4 years old.
And did you ever bring your son to work with you?
Yes.
How often?
Quite often, if I had to keep working, I would bring him back there after school. And if I had to work on the weekends, he would come with me then.
Did Mr. Depp ever interact with your son?
Yes, he was very kind.
How often did Mr. Depp interact with your son?
Whenever they were in each other's presence.
Can you give me an estimate of how often that happened?
Oh, countless times. He would even teach him how to play guitar. He brought him back from vacations. He showed him his amazing makeup makeover when he was doing Black Mass. He tricked him. He leant over and was saying, "Do you know who I am?" And he had the full makeup on. His son's jaw almost hit the ground. It was really cute, actually. Yeah. He gave my son a little pick as well, a guitar pick, which he cherishes to this day as well.
fair to say you were around Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard together quite a lot?
Yeah, it became increasingly more as the time went on. Yeah.
What was your impression of Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp's relationship?
It did not seem like a perfect relationship to me, based on a lot of insecurity on her behalf, which seemed to cause confusion in the relationship. Maybe the age gap was an issue because of their interests. I know that much. Apart from that, who am I to know the relationship, you know?
Do you think that Mr. Depp was smothering of Ms. Heard?
Oh, yeah.
Did it appear to you that Mr. Depp was jealous of Ms. Heard?
No.
Did you ever have interactions with Mr. Depp by yourself?
Sometimes, yeah.
And what were those interactions like?
Just friendly chit-chat, which would stop immediately when Amber saw me speaking to him. She'd give me the evil eye, and I'd know to just quickly walk away.
Did Amber ever talk to you about your interactions with Mr. Depp?
No.
In the 3 years that you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp argue?
No.
In the 3 years that you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see any physical violence between Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp?
Never.
Did you ever see either of them being physically aggressive with one another?
No.
Did you ever see any property damage at Ms. Heard's home?
Never.
Did you ever see any property damage at Mr. Depp's primary residence on Sweetser?
Never.
Did you ever see any property damage at the lofts or the penthouses at the Eastern Columbia building?
No. No, never.
Over the 3-year period in which you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever hear from anyone that Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard had been in a physical altercation?
No.
Over the 3-year period in which you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see Ms. Heard be physically aggressive with anyone?
No.
Let's break that down a bit. When you say she was verbally abusive to you regularly, can you explain to me how she was verbally abusive to you?
Screaming over the phone. She screamed at me once in person, multiple times screaming at me over the phone. Barrages of abusive text messages, day and night, a lot of them in the middle of the night. I think you're aware. I think...
Oh shit, I've completely forgotten about this chat. I don't know how far we are behind now, guys. Ages. Terrible, terrible. Damn Nepali food. It's done now. It's finished. So we're back on it. We're back on it. And we're going to pay more attention to the chat, you know. That's why we're here.
Between 2 and 4 a.m. the barrage would start. That's what I'd wake up to. All incoherent, not really making sense, just basically someone to lash out at, you know. No.
Look at her. This woman's got PTSD from dealing with Amber Heard as her client, as her employer, you know. Yes, it's just all incoherent, just basically someone to lash out at and to attack. That was me. Another victim, Amber. Can you imagine what this woman thought when she saw Amber coming out of the courthouse? Should we go to the... Well, How much longer have we got left? 20 minutes. I think after this we're going to go to Amber's post-trial interview with Savannah somebody. What was her name? Savannah something. That's very interesting and revealing. And we're also going to have a look at the leaving the court footage where she comes out with her stupid fake bruise and is like shoving her fake bruised chin into the photographer's lens.
Reason to it.
You testified previously that you observed Ms. Heard be verbally abusive to her sister.
Yes.
What do you recall about that?
It was ongoing kick the dog kind of relationship with her sister. So it's really hard to pinpoint any specifics, but her poor sister was treated like the dog that you kick, basically.
You previously testified that you observed Ms. Heard be verbally abusive to her mother.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically did you observe?
Well, there is a video that's online where you can see her being abusive first and foremost. So it's not even based on what I'm telling you. It's what I've seen, the interactions between the two of them when her mother was still alive and the fact that her mother was terrified of her.
Did her mother tell you she was terrified of her?
She personally told me she was terrified of her.
Did you ever witness Ms. Heard tongue lash her mother?
Here and there, yes. Especially when it was build up to a stressful event or something like that, yeah.
You said you felt that Ms. Heard was verbally abusive to you. Can you provide me with any specific examples of this behavior?
Well, I thought I did earlier, but yeah, it was just so random and ongoing. You would never know when it was going to come left of centre. I do remember on one occasion when we were moving from part-time to full-time, and then the salary negotiations became a real bone of contention. And I specifically remember standing in her office where she leapt up out of her chair, put her face approximately 4 inches from my face. She was spitting in my face and telling me how dare I ask for the salary I was asking for, which was in fact approximately half of my regular annual salary. I was offering her that as a favour, and she felt that gave her the right to spit in my face.
Yeah.
And there was a witness in the apartment at that time, by the way.
Spit in your assistant's face, because that says that I'm the victim of abuse like nothing else, right? I'm the victim, and I spit in your face because you're my employee, and I pay you half what you are worth. And, you know what I mean? Unbelievable. You fucking Australian piece of shit. Do we have any Australians in the house tonight, guys? Where's our good friend, Norla Vine?
Who was at the apartment at the time?
The handyman, Hector Galindo.
I'm sorry?
The handyman, Hector Galindo. He was so mortified. He was so embarrassed to hear her speaking to me like that.
Miss James, while you worked for Miss Heard, did you ever observe her drinking alcohol?
Yes, I did.
How often did you observe Miss Heard drink alcohol?
Don't recall.
Yeah, look, we've got Rise of Phoenix, who is loving the Discord, guys. We've got a whole bunch of new sections on Discord. Some people like to talk about sports on Discord, you know, because we're all here for the true crime, right? But then the community builds, and then people make friends, and they relate to each other, and then they think, hey, did you see last night's game? And they talk about last night's game. The Chargers and the Chiefs, or whatever it is, you know, I don't know. I don't follow American football. The Dolphins, the fucking Dolphins, and the 49ers. It's like, and you know, yes, there's sports section now, pet section. That's been a big mover, because I think inherent with true crime is that you're a caring person, and if you're a caring person, you like pets. What else have we got? Foodies, Metrix foodies on Discord. Everyone loves food, right? Cooking food, eating food, going out to eat, cooking at home. It's all on Discord. And, of course, we've got our fantastic true crime section. If you're not on Discord, I assure you, and I implore you to join. I assure you it's fantastic, and I implore you to join. Link in the description. Also links in the description for great ways to support the channel. buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix. Merchandise links in the description for fantastic True Crime Metrix merch. Logo merch, Adelson merch. Fantastic merch, mugs, t-shirts, shower caps, face masks. I mean, we've got it all. The whole range. Hoodies. Fantastic hoodies. Yeah, check it out at True Crime Metrix. No, merch.truecrimemetrix.com. Patreon memberships. Fantastic memberships. Great memberships. YouTube memberships. Super chat, super like, super thanks, super sticker. buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix.
What alcohol did you observe Miss Heard drink in your presence?
Red wine.
Did Miss Heard ever appear intoxicated to you?
Yes, she often did.
While you worked for Miss Heard, were you aware of what, if any, prescription drugs she was taking?
Yes, because I had to pick it up and I often had to deliver it to her to
You
set.
anticipated. I'm sorry, Miss James, I interrupted your question, or your answer, excuse me. The last part of your answer was to...
It was my job to pick it up and deliver it to her, also bring it to her if she was doing a photo shoot or, you know, on set or something, if she'd forgotten it.
What prescription drugs do you remember picking up from Miss Heard?
Provigil.
Any other prescription drugs that you remember picking up from Miss Heard?
Accutane.
Any others?
Not specifically.
To your knowledge, did Miss Heard ever stop taking Provigil or Accutane while you were working for her?
No.
Did Miss Heard ever tell you that she was experiencing any side effects from Provigil?
She didn't say it, but I observed it.
We'll go back to that in a minute, but did Miss Heard ever tell you that she was experiencing any side effects from Accutane?
No.
You previously testified that you observed Miss Heard having certain side effects from Provigil. Yes?
Yes.
What side effects did you observe Miss Heard exhibiting?
Manic episodes.
Can you tell me what you mean by manic episodes?
Similar to if someone was on some sort of amphetamine drug. Moving very fast, not making a lot of sense, hyper-organizing, hyper-tasking, just very, very hyper. Yeah.
Besides prescribed medication, did you ever observe Ms. Heard ingest any illicit drugs while you worked for her?
No.
Did Ms. Heard ever tell you that she had ingested illegal drugs?
Yes.
When did Ms. Heard tell you that she had ingested illegal drugs?
Sporadically here and there.
What drugs did Ms. Heard tell you she had ingested?
Mushrooms, ecstasy, and cocaine.
If you remember, how many times...
Look at that face here. Mushrooms, ecstasy, and cocaine. Well, that'll do it.
What drugs did Ms. Heard tell you she had ingested?
Mushrooms, ecstasy, and cocaine.
If you remember, how many...
She looks like she's on mushrooms right now. She's looking at the judge. The judge has 3 heads. And what is with this jacket? Look at these lapels. That's too much. Everything she wears, she looks like some weird theatrical villain. I mean, what is the deal with that? And this face. I'm amazed. I mean, obviously she doesn't listen to a shit thing her attorneys say, because her attorneys to her are just like poor Kate James, right? Servants. You do what I say. You don't tell me what to do. I spit in your face. You don't get me off this case, I spit in your face. That's it. That's the rule. That's what happens when you're Amber's bitch. Yeah? Be Amber's bitch.
times did Ms. Heard tell you that she had ingested illegal drugs?
I can't remember.
Based on your personal observations, did it ever appear to you that Ms. Heard was under the influence of illegal drugs?
Yes.
How many times?
I don't know.
Less than 5?
It's so long ago, it's hard for me to remember.
Why did it appear to you that Ms. Heard was under the influence of illegal drugs?
Disoriented, partying with friends, lots of heavy drinking, laughing, dancing, playing, all the sorts of things that go hand in hand with imbibing in drugs.
Would Ms. Heard's treatment of you change when she was intoxicated?
Yes.
How so?
She became more and more belligerent and abusive.
Ms. James, you previously testified that you provided testimony in a matter involving Mr. Depp in the United Kingdom. Do you remember that testimony?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how did you provide testimony in the United Kingdom?
Well, I wrote a witness statement and then I had to do a live video feed.
And did you understand that your witness statement was made under oath?
Yes.
And did you understand that your testimony during the trial live was also under oath?
Yes.
Did anyone help you write your witness statement?
No.
Shillings over in the UK helped me with the first draft, and then I took over and completely edited it to be my own words. That was after a phone conversation we had. They jotted down notes, sent me some basic notes to work with, and then I worked on it from there.
How long did it take you to write your witness statement?
About 3 or 4 days.
Did you feel you had an adequate amount of time to prepare and write your witness statement?
Yes, I was very proud with the outcome of how I wrote it because it was all my words and it was the absolute truth.
And did you have enough time to review your witness statement for accuracy before you signed it?
Yes.
Was everything that was in your witness statement true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
And is that still true today?
Yes.
Lucian, may I please have you pull up Depp exhibit number 4, please?
Showing Depp exhibit number 4 on the screen.
Thank you. Ms. James, do you remember receiving an email from Ms. Heard on or about February 12th, 2015?
Oh God, I've even missed some. Okay, I've missed a shitload of chat, guys. Sorry. I've missed super chats. Thank you so much, Riding Shotgun, for that fantastic super sticker. That is so appreciated. And also more we've got to thank. I'm just going to have to skip to the end. I'm never going to catch up. Bad host. Hey, Casey Jacobson. How we doing? Good to see you. Yeah, and I know there's another super chat. I'm just trying to get to it so I can acknowledge the beautiful Victoria girl. Thank you so much, Victoria. Okay, I promise I'm going to stay absolutely present now, guys. Absolutely present.
I don't even believe I was still working for the date.
Do you remember receiving this email in particular from February 12th, 2015?
The opportune moment.
Again, I don't, as far as I know, I wasn't even working for her at that time, so I wouldn't even know why she wrote this letter to me, quite honestly.
Do you remember receiving this email then?
No.
Okay. Can we please pull up exhibit number 5?
Stand by. Showing Depp exhibit number 5 on the screen.
Lucian, may I ask you to... There you go. You read my mind. Lucian, may I either take control or have you scroll down to the bottom? Thank you. James, the way these emails tend to work is they start at the bottom and then go up. And this one is no exception. So I'm going to, for your ease, I'm going to have you read the bottom email first, since it's the first one in the chain, dated February 3rd, 2015.
Looks like she was traveling straight to London after the wedding. That's what I'm reading.
Do you remember, actually, you know what? Why don't you read this entire email chain, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about it.
Yeah, single-handedly burying Amber Heard. Yeah. It's like, and I love how she's just got this demeanor of, I don't give a fuck about these proceedings. You want to know the truth about what it's like to work for that abusive psycho bitch that paid me half what I'm worth and made a fuss about that I had to really push for, and still abused me and spat in my face and fucked around all day by the pool just to tell me at 10 o'clock to go and pack her bag when I'd already gone home and put my son to bed? Is that what you want to ask me questions about? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Ask me those questions. I'll tell you all you want to know about what it's like to work for this abusive, sick, twisted bitch. And at the same time, she's up here going, yeah, Johnny, I never saw him throw anything. I never saw any evidence of anything being broken. He was a southern gentleman. I looked at his shoes, his red shoes. They were so nice. And he said, do you want to come round for a drop of purple or whatever it was? And what did he say? Bury her flabby ass or something. Do you remember Johnny's texts to his one of his entourage? I can't remember who it was. He called Amber a flabby fish market. He went on this really long text, which was obviously anger and intoxicated, but also really, creative writing. He's just like Bukowski. I swear to God, Johnny Depp loves Charlie Bukowski.
Can you help me? Oh, no, now it's moving. I don't know, it's being finicky.
No, do you have control of this?
I do have control. Sorry, Miss James.
Yeah, I can go up a bit more now.
Hey, here's our resident from the land that's under everything else. Welcome back, Nola Vine. Got one of your people in today.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember receiving these emails from Miss Heard?
Not really, no. No.
Do you see where Miss Heard on February 4th, 2015 writes in all caps, "Are there no direct flights? Question mark, exclamation." I'm just pointing her to the top email, Mr. Rottenborn. Do you see where Miss Heard writes to you, "Are there no direct flights?" in all caps?
Yeah.
You would agree with me that nowhere else in this email chain Miss Heard uses all caps to write to you, correct?
No, there's not. She seems very confused. That's all I can say. When I'm reading through this, she just seems to be very confused. And the thing is like if that question were to be directed to anyone, it should have been to the travel agent, not me. I mean, I'm not the travel agent. The travel agent was down there in the beginning, Trudy Sullivan.
Directing your attention, Miss James, to May of 2014.
See you later, Kim.
When you met Miss Heard at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, California. Do you remember your testimony about that incident? You testified previously that Miss Heard asked you to bring a bathing suit to the hotel. Is that correct?
Right, yes.
Did you see Ms. Heard wearing a bathing suit in May of 2014 at the Chateau Marmont?
Yes.
Based on your recollection, did you see any bruises on Ms. Heard's body?
Objection.
No.
Did you see any red marks on Ms. Heard's body?
No.
How would you describe the general atmosphere or mood of Ms. Heard and her friends at the Chateau Marmont?
To be honest, it seemed a little conspiratorial to me.
Got to queue up the next video.
How so?
We got what have we got next? We got
Like a strategy meeting or something, and combined with a pool party. Hard to describe. It was very confusing. Originally, I thought I was going over for some major emergency, but then something else completely different was going on that day.
What made you think something completely different was going on that day?
Well, because originally it made it seem like she was having this major emergency and she was completely alone and she needed me very badly to come as quickly as possible. But when I got there, she was surrounded by people. Savannah, Io, Tillett Wright, and Rocky specifically, Raquel Pennington.
What was the second name you said? I got Rocky and who?
Io, Tillett Wright. It's the letter I, the letter O. Tillett.
I-O. Okay. Yeah, my name is I-O. Alright, well, what's your fucking real name? You know what I mean? Like, fuck off. Yeah? That's your name, is it? I-O. I bet his real name's Tim. Or Bill. Tim Bill. You know, maybe he's a southern Timothy Bill. Billy Timmy. You know, just show us your fucking ID, alright? Bill.
Right.
Did you observe Ms. Heard showing what appeared to be injuries to any of her friends at the chateau that day?
No.
Did it appear to you that Ms. Heard's friends were comforting her? How would you describe Ms. Heard's friends' behavior?
We're not going to do it today, but we got to do the testimony of Rocky Pennington and I.O., quote unquote, Bill or Tim. Tim, did you ever witness Bill comforting Miss Heard after she was abused by Mr. Depp? And did Bill ever tell Tim to hand Miss Heard a tissue? What the fuck? Io, come on, fuck off.
Friends hanging out together by the pool, having cocktails and spending the entire afternoon hanging around together.
Did you ever learn information that made you believe that one of the reasons that their relationship between Johnny and Amber wasn't, as you described, perfect was because of Johnny's substance abuse?
I couldn't speculate on the details of their personal relationship.
You did testify earlier that one of the reasons you thought their relationship wasn't perfect was insecurity on Amber's part, though, right?
Yes.
So you developed an opinion that insecurity on Amber's part affected their relationship, but you did not develop an opinion that substance abuse or any actions by Johnny affected their relationship. Is that right?
That statement was based on communications directly to me from Amber, basically.
What communications specifically?
Expressing, exactly what I just stated. That she was sad, she didn't want to be away from him. blah, 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 that sort of thing. It would happen all the time.
And you believe that those statements were the reason that their relationship wasn't perfect?
It's not for me to speculate.
You would agree that just because someone is insecure in a relationship does not mean that she deserves to be abused, correct?
I have no answer for you for that.
You would agree that even if someone acts, quote unquote, smothering in a relationship doesn't mean she deserves to be abused, correct?
I don't have an answer for you for that.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you for your time today.
All right.
Oh, really?
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our morning recess for 15 minutes. No outside research. Do not talk about the case, right? Okay, thank you.
I'd love if I was staying in like a nice Virginia bed and breakfast, and the person that was there to greet me and take my booking was Judge Penny. Wouldn't that be nice? I would feel so welcome. You know, she could hand me maybe a nice little book map of river walks in the local area. Maybe suggest an antique shop down the road for me to peruse, and you know, it would just be she'd know exactly what to do. I'm confident that Judge Penny would be 100% efficient at anything she is involved in, you know? Let's put her in a completely different profession. Didn't someone say the other day that she was a Marine? Absolutely believe it. Chief Marine. You know? The one that's right on the front of the boat. Ready for action. Ready for business. Fantastic, Judge Penny. We love you, Judge Penny. Okay, let's go to the interview, guys. Is this it? It's only 10 minutes? I thought it was at least 20 minutes. Or are we getting shorted here? Shorted by the networks. Oh, there's another one. Oh, is this Amber Heard being extremely generically, I'm celebrity and I have a shit ton of makeup on and look at me, look at me. Let's watch that first. It's only 3 minutes. Does she? Well, yeah, you look gorgeous on the cover of this magazine. Well, she would do. She's on the cover of a magazine. They took 10,000 pictures. Yes, we're going to try this one now, Soap.
You look gorgeous here on the cover of this magazine.
Thank you.
And I couldn't help but. You look gorgeous here on the cover of this magazine.
Right, let's just see her. Right.
You look gorgeous here.
You know, I get it, right? I can see that she's got this kind of V-lined face from chin to cheekbones, and then the corner of the eyes. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Clinical beauty. But I just, for one, I think I'd sense all of her evil shit. And two, even if she was really nice, I obviously would, right? But I wouldn't go to that much effort for it. Really. You know, I'd put my chips on other bets.
On the cover of this magazine.
Thank you.
And I couldn't.
Even there with the big production, Elle magazine. Woo. Not just looks like any generic model to me. I mean, nothing extra, you know. no uniqueness, no signature, nothing.
Couldn't help.
Stage, talk show charisma. You see some people on talk shows, and they lap it up. They got all of the cues, the moves. They know how to work the format, the situation. Amber's got nothing. She's been fully prepped. This is what we're gonna say. This is what we're gonna do. Blah 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 blah. This is basic script. This is an outline. Posture, body language. What is she trying to convey to us with that? Nothing. All she's telling me is that she's uncomfortably nervous. But she'd never admit that, would she? Neruda, I'm so well read that I read poetry in Argentinian. Or Spanish. But, from Argentina. Because I love Pablo Neruda.
The bottom one is from this 10th century...
Shit, is he from Argentina? Did I get that wrong?
Poet, philosopher named Omar Khayyam.
Yes, the philosophy of Omar Khayyam. Yes, I loved his philosophy so much, I had to have it tattooed just beneath my left tit. Right next to my Pablo Neruda quote, which you won't be able to understand because it's written in Española. Esperanto.
Farsi.
Oh, yeah, of course. In Farsi.
Like I said,
yes. When I was learning to speak Farsi, during my time traveling from Tehran to Shiraz, it was such a long way. But I had to take that long way when I was learning all how to read and speak Farsi from the philosophies of Omar Khayyam. This ridiculous pose that she does of being this phenomenal intellectual. We poked a lot of fun at her for reading the Fountainhead, right? Huge book. 10,000 page book. I mean, it's not 10,000 pages. It's probably 900, 1,100. I don't know. It's a big book.
It's really beautiful. It's poetry, but at least I think.
Oh, shit. It's so transparent, though, isn't it? It's so transparent. She's got these tattoos of Iranian philosophy and Argentinian poetry on her body. Ooh, oh my God, that's so enlightening.
Pablo Neruda quote that I like. And the bottom one is from this 10th century...
Well, tell us what it is. A Pablo Neruda quote that I like. Okay. Well, the guy asked, what does it say? And instead of just telling us what it says, you had to say it's a Pablo Neruda quote that you like. Meaning that you've read Pablo Neruda and read many Pablo and looked at all Neruda quotes. And you've come to the conclusion that this one is the one for you to have tattooed on your body in permanent ink and be displayed in a model shot for Elle magazine, right? Virtue signal or what? How can you tell us all that without telling us the simple... surely the most important thing is the quote, not who wrote it, not that you like it. You're telling us you like it because that's suggestive that you know many of them because you're so well read. And then the one above that is a philosophy quote in Farsi. Well, how interesting. Oh, that was a funny one, wasn't it? Oh, at least I think. Oh, my God. Ruby slippers. unbelievably just zero charisma, right? No star quality. You know, and sometimes when a star is on one of these shows, they lack the star quality because they're so well known that they're completely uninterested to be on one of these shows, right? Johnny Depp included. So, you know, some of the stories he tells are pretty. You know, you can tell it's just someone has told him, "Hey, look, go on this show, and here's a good story you can tell on the show," and he goes out and he tells the story on the show, and it's just because it's part of the rollout deal of the movie that he's working on, and it's in his contract. You know, you got to go on the show, you got to promote the movie. That's how we create a buzz around this thing. But in that case, and don't get me wrong, he's better than her, even on a bad day. But it's just in her case, she's a nothing celebrity, right? She's only on there because, I don't know, is she with Johnny at this point, or is it just the looks, or I don't even get it. I don't know. Anyway, what we're really here for, guys, is... Oh, what's this one? Should we just do a bunch of these? Oh, here's Letterman.
Our next guest, a lovely woman and a talented actress. She can be seen in a...
Oh shit! Is this gonna rob us of our? Is David gonna come after me and say, "Hey, Metrix, you've been using my show, Metrix. Where's my check, Metrix?"
A new film entitled 3 Days to Kill, which is in theaters on Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the lovely Amber Heard.
Yeah, how not to walk naturally. She walks like the Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp. We are Siamese, if you please. We are Siamese, if you don't please. See that again.
On Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the lovely Amber Heard. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Hey, Amber.
Hello.
You look lovely.
No one in the audience looked at that entrance and didn't think it looked weird as fuck. How slow do you need to be, girl? Get on up here, girl. David even had to get off the block and go and get you. We are Siamese, if you please. Let's see it again. It was ridiculous.
The lovely Amber Heard.
You know who's got some star quality? Julia Roberts. Did she think she's going to be the next Julia Roberts? Is that what this was supposed to be? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Heard.
Just awkward as fuck, that wave. I'm sorry to play it so many times, guys, but it really, I think it's telling us so much. You know, in the context of all of what we heard about the relationship with Johnny and Amber and her horrible false claims. And what we heard of Amber Heard on the recordings, those venomous, vicious attacks.
Nice to see you.
Hi.
Hey, Amber.
Hello.
You look lovely.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much.
You've not been on the show before, have you?
No, I have not. This is my first time.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
I am from Texas, and I live in LA now, have for the last 10 years or so.
What part of Texas?
Austin, outside of Austin.
Oh, Austin.
Yeah.
And now this is just my imagination, but did you grow up like in a rural setting where it's like a ranch or a farm or something like that, livestock?
Good guess.
Really?
Yes, I very much did. My dad broke horses for a living. And
now when you say broke horses...
I very much did. I very much did. There's something peculiar about that, but I'm not sure what it is. Yes, I very much did. I would never say that in any context. Why don't I like that? What is it about that I really don't like? Yes, I very much did. It's, at the moment, without further context, I think it's just an indicator. But does anyone else find that phrase, the way she worded that? She could have just said yes. I very much did. What is that? I don't know if I've ever heard that said before.
What does that mean?
Train horses.
Train horses.
That's what they say in
right.
California.
No,
they train.
He would get wild.
Is it shame? Is it shame?
Horses, stallions.
Yeah.
Dangerous killer stallions. Now, how would he get them? Would people...
Just like what Johnny Depp would become. A dangerous killer stallion.
Bring them to him, or would he...
A wild horse that I had to tame and then get my TRO. Yes, I had to get my TRO from the dangerous wild stallion.
Go out and get them.
Well, he was raised doing that, and so he found a little niche for himself, training other people's horses, how to be rideable, basically.
They would come.
So he was raised raising horses. So your dad is part horse. They rose together through the ranks, the horse ranks. The equestrian ranks.
Come and say he's never had a saddle on him.
Exactly. Or he's a really, really crazy horse. Can you fix him? And they hire people that are crazy enough, like my dad, to just jump on.
Right.
And then
now, is he one of those horse whisperer guys?
I don't know. He's more of a yeller.
He's a yeller.
Yeller.
Just a straight up animal abuser, you know. What he does is he ties a rope around the testicles of the horse until they're in so much pain that they have to submit. Yeah. And he keeps that rope on there until they're really ready to give up.
I've never heard my dad whisper.
Yeah. But you know what this is? This is the genesis of rodeo. This is what cowboys used to do, and this is how that got to be part of the rodeo, and then other events came from that. Now, did you ever do that stuff?
No, my dad's dream for me, though, when I was a little girl, was to be a champion barrel racer. I let him down.
Yeah.
But it did give me some good training. You know, I now have a horse.
You might walk like that after, yeah, smoking a joint. That's all.
Horse that I love very much. I got her when she was young, which is not standard. Typically, you buy a horse after.
Now, was yours a wild stallion also?
Well, she's a filly. It's a girl.
A wild.
Yeah, they're all. They're not really like born to be ridden.
No, they hate having things on their back because they think they're going to be killed.
They're like most of us. Yeah.
Yeah, like most of us. But did your dad ever test you on like raw horses?
Yeah, you know, he didn't have crash test dummies and or sons, so it was me. I was his hunting and fishing buddy.
Did you ever get launched off a horse?
Oh, yeah, I spent my first, I don't know, my first 15 years riding, mostly on the ground.
Being dragged?
Yeah.
You ever been stepped on by a horse?
Everything.
That's the worst, when a horse puts his foot on your foot.
Yes.
Because you know that he knows that he's doing it.
Yes.
But it's not so it's a lot of this. It's like,
yeah, the horse is saying, take that fucking rope off my balls.
You're pushing.
Typical problems, I know. It feels a lot like being in LA.
Now, when did you leave the ranch?
I left when I was 16 and basically spent so much time traveling.
Yeah, I moved to LA. I started showing people my tits until one of them said, we will put you in a small budget film. No money, but the exposure, very good, very good. We're showing it to 15 people.
Back and forth from New York, Miami, Europe to Texas, that I finally at one point said to my parents, you know, I'm not living here anymore, right? And they said, well, that's crazy. You're just now 17. You can't do that. And I said, well, I'm leaving tomorrow. I've kind of already been living there.
Wow.
They're like, what? As you can imagine.
It came as a surprise to Mom and Dad.
Yeah, of course.
But everybody's comfortable with it now?
Well, yeah, now they are.
Yeah, sure, now. Yeah, exactly.
Now that I've shaved a few years off their life,
we have I think this is a photo of you and your father. And this, I would get, look at that. There's a cowboy right there.
Yeah, that's my daddy.
Well, it looks fantastic.
He's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see. I know that there's a really good joke here, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's something to do with a horse or. I don't think I need to bring it to you. You have it already, just with this picture.
How long has he had the mustache? All your life?
My whole life. He comes out. He's my date to all my premieres and you know, functions, and he's on.
That's not a mustache, man. Those are the eyebrows of the first horse he ever tamed. As a trophy, he cut them off and glued them to his upper lip.
Set all the time. He's great.
And he looks like a guy that would be cast to be in a movie, but he's the real guy.
It's funny because it is true though. He's on set with me a lot, and one time was.
Yeah, what movie? A Mexican porn film. Something with donkeys.
At the beginning, someone came up to him and they said, man, that mustache looks so real. How did you? They did a really good job with that one. That one looks real. How do you get it off? And he said, now what?
Yeah.
He said, how do you get that mustache off? My dad looked at him, looked at me, and he said, baby girl, I don't know what he's saying to me. You better tell him to go.
That's right.
I was like, Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy, he doesn't realize it's a real mustache.
Yeah, in Hollywood, a guy comes up to you and says, how do you get it off? You don't want any part of that guy. Any part of that guy.
No. He's a good one, though.
You were in that movie, The Rum Diaries, with my good friend Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Has he ever mentioned me?
I couldn't tell you. Well, maybe a little. Maybe.
Now the next time you see him, say, oh, I was on Dave's show. What
I'm not going to tell him. What we have is between us.
Not going to tell him. I think that's smart. This movie, 3 Days to Kill, opens Friday. This is you and you know who I'm talking about.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Charades. Tell us about this film.
Oh, it's great. It's called 3 Days to Kill, and it is Kevin Costner's character is tasked with basically 3 days to complete a mission, or else he loses his life. And my character is the leading agent of the force that is trying to hire him and keep him in this trap. And I have some pretty persuasive ways of getting what I want from people.
Did you enjoy making this movie?
I did. I had a lot of fun. Aside.
I have some pretty persuasive ways of getting what I want from people. What, like faking a domestic violence abuse case and going to the court to get a temporary restraining order with fake makeup, bruise kit, shit on your face? Like those kind of ways?
From having to wear all the spandex and latex in February in Paris. Other than that, it was pretty good.
Spandex, latex, I'm not familiar with that world.
Classic spyware, it's like...
That's just what they wear.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be an assassin in normal
No,
clothes.
of course not. We have a clip of it here, Amber. What are we going to see?
I think this is when I bust in on Kevin having just completed his first mission.
Okay, take a look. 3 Days to Kill.
Oh, is this going to be a clip of her fantastic acting? Full production value. Okay, let's see.
Pretty good for a jobber.
You said there'd be one guy, not 5.
Oops. But I did say keep the young man with the mustache alive.
What do you think this guy looks like?
Middle-aged.
Not a chance. Now tell her how old you are.
I'm 32.
Middle-aged. Now this is a young man with a mustache.
No, it's a goatee.
That's a mustache. How's
All right, so what about the rest of these guys? Who are all these other guys here?
I don't know.
And that doesn't bother you?
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Nope. And nope again. The lovely Amber Heard. Congratulations.
Thank
My
you
best
so
to you and...
Like, what was the fucking point of showing that clip? Oh, she even made Kevin Costner look bad. And Kevin Costner's okay sometimes. And Robin Hood and Waterworld. And that thing where he kidnaps that Amish boy. What was that called? Kevin Costner in the Amish Revenge movie. How does someone come up with that? Yeah. We're going to have Kevin Costner hijack a car and kidnap an Amish child. How does someone go to the... what do you call it? The producer studio, Paramount or whatever it is, and say, listen, we've got something here, okay? The story is Kevin Costner hijacks a car, kidnaps an Amish child, drives around for an hour and 20, and then takes revenge. I can't even remember the end. Like, how does that get a yes? But you know what? It did, and even though I can't remember the ending, I would watch it again. Okay, Amber. Right, let's go to your post. Let's go to your post. Whatever it is. What are we doing? Amber Heard interview after trial. That's what we need to put. Or this one.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it?
Yeah.
Surreal.
I've been practicing my exhaling since the verdict, and I think I've got it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt my head, turn it to the left, breathe out in a forceful manner, and then pick my head up as if I'm a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Sit here with me now. Has it sunk in? How could it? Surreal and difficult. In part, yes. This has been a long time coming. Do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse? Of course. To my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
The real-life drama of the defamation case between Amber Heard and her ex-husband Johnny Depp captivated millions of people around the world.
Amber Heard just got exposed.
Johnny, you hit me.
This is so cringe.
With clips spreading across social media like wildfire.
I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial...
This is Sarah Boone's excuse, right? No, I forgive the social media for all of their lies and unkind words that damaged my case.
Is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok. And the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror...
Yeah.
It would have been...
Even the most well-intentioned Pablo Neruda expert could not have seen past the poetry or the social media of this case.
Been impossible to avoid this.
People online and crowds outside the courthouse made it clear where they stood.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch," "Death to Amber." After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand.
Albert, Witness is another film. There's a film where Kevin Costner kidnaps an Amish child. There's another one. And I always got those confused. I always used to think Witness was the one with Kevin Costner. But no, that's the Harrison Ford one. There's another one with Kevin Costner. Trust me. Trust me on this. I just don't remember the name.
And saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized.
Can you put
Captain Jack Sparrow fans, just like True Crime Metrix community, is packed with Captain Jack Sparrow fans. Welcome, Captain Jack Sparrow.
into words how that felt? This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity.
Well, were you removed from your own humanity when you crouched down on your marital bed and took a shit on Johnny's pillow? Did that remove your humanity or dignity, you know? And then to have your own turd shown to the world, you know, with all those witnesses that supported the truth rather than what your story was, which is that a dog weighing all of 3 pounds produced a shit that was bigger than its own central mass.
I felt less than human.
Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
That's a great question. I wish I could say yes to that.
I wish Pablo Neruda were here to answer that great question.
I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me.
Thank you, Victoria girl. Can I start calling you Vicky girl? That would be easier for me. It's a bit of a mouthful. I could just say Monica, but some people in the chat would be like, what is Metrix talking about? There's no Monica in chat, you know? But, it's okay. Oh, we'll just call you Doris. Thank you, Doris.
Look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
After the 6-week trial, the jury found Heard defamed Depp in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she wrote she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. She never mentioned her ex-husband by name.
Depp we gotta see that one. We gotta see that one. Do you remember seeing the Amber Heard rally, the domestic abuse rally, where she was like, I woke up one morning and I smelled the smoke. She she talks in all of this really amplified, evocative language, and it's just like, yeah, we get it, yeah. You stayed up all night, drunk, on your $500 bottle of Merlot, and wrote this piece of shit, and now you're here reading it into a microphone, okay?
Denied the abuse allegations in court. Heard won just one of 3 claims in her countersuit against her ex-husband. That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife-beater.
There was another trial, dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, mine.
Call me anything but Doris. Okay, well, Murgatroyd it is. Thank you, Murgatroyd.
My evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK.
Yeah, jury's fault. Stupid jury. They weren't well read. They didn't know about the Fountainhead. They didn't know about Pablo Neruda. They didn't know about Ayn Rand. Oh my gosh.
UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better.
Good link there, Ride-In Shotgun. Loving it. Loving it. Great way to support the channel, folks, on buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix. Link in the description. Link on Ride-In Shotgun's comment. Fantastic link. Great link. Great way to support the channel, and we thank you so much from the bottom of our soul.
Better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
For some people, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst.
Yes, we agree. Hollywood brats. Or you really. I mean, Johnny's earned his position. You know, he's been doing this a long time, longer than you've been alive, and you know, he's you know, whether whether he's your taste of an actor or not, there's no denying that he's earned his stripes, right? He's worked with some of the greatest directors, actors, biggest budget films. I mean, it's way up there. It's way up there.
People don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The First Amendment right to speak. Now we're referring to the U.S. Constitution. Okay? Yes. Our constitutional rights. Another focal point for Sarah Boone, right? Social media, the Constitution. Are we noticing a pattern here, guys? I'm going to watch out for this in future bullshit, lying pieces of shit and just see if they go to the Constitution or social media. I bet they will. I bet they will. It's sort of like when all else fails. That's the thing that every citizen, American citizen, can fall back on quite readily, right? My constitutional rights.
The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation, and that was the issue in the case.
Yeah.
What is it called in Canada? The Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Is that the same sort of thing?
Exactly. You can't go into the free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just
now the Greeks are to blame. They got the concept. They got it wrong. Yeah, we get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. What, Christoph down in the kebab house cooking a moussaka? Yeah. Free speech. Where's the bill, Christoph?
the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power.
Oh, I love that Savannah pulled her up there. That was Amber's... Amber thought that was going to be the crescendo, the final point. It's the freedom to speak truth to power. This little point she did there, right? And Savannah's like, yeah, but you know, truth is the word there, and that was the issue. You know, implicit is your truth was said to be not true, and they thought you lied, as did everyone else. And then Amber, oh no, that's all I spoke. Just truth, all truth. Oh, you know what? I could actually have a bit of a laugh with Amber Heard, man. I've identified several points where I could really fucking wind her up. And if I wanted to be a sadistic fuck, it would be fun.
And you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
Ooh, big statement.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the closing arguments, the Depp lawyer called your testimony the performance of a lifetime, and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
The man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. Amber, I haven't seen it, but I know it's a fucking film with special, effects and props. Like, no one was convinced that he had scissors. Everyone knew that he was an actor in a film with props, right? Oh, just so weak, so nothing weak. Hey, little girl, go and live in Ibiza or Mallorca or wherever you're fucking living, yeah? Just go and live in Mallorca or Madrid and fuck off, all right?
I'm the performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress.
Yes. Yeah, I hope you're listening to my show tonight because we've just watched one of your clips, right? With Kevin Costner, where you look, it was just so, it was horrible. Everything about your performance in there was so beneath amateur. You know, your movements, your sort of, I went through a bunch of this stuff the other day, right? Where she's all focused on her choreography and movement, more akin to a dancer, but she can't even do that right. Right? Put a bit of fucking dialogue in her mouth and forget it. Cut the fucking tape, okay? Your performance on these talk shows, no charisma, no charm, no relatability, no humour, no delivery, nothing. You walked on to Letterman. We were taking the piss out of you, saying that you look like you need a piss, that you look like the Siamese cat from Lady and the Tramp, right? And they were evil as well, weren't they? They attacked the baby and blamed the puppy and got the puppy thrown out. And she had a rough week.
So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The Depp team argued that you were the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it. I responded to it. When you're living in
yeah, Savannah Guthrie's face looks like she's, just disbelief of like almost tasting something sour of just, just like, I can't believe you're still pushing this.
Violence, and it becomes normal, as I testified to. You have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that with your abuser.
But I am looking at a transcript that says, he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand context. But you're testifying and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white.
I wish Savannah Guthrie would be like, okay, final question. Who's your favorite author and why?
Because it's anything but when you're living in it.
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am a victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe a 20-second clip isn't representative. But when we have 30 or 40 20-second clips, and we put them all together, we start to see a pattern. Clusters, right? We start to see a pattern of abusive behavior. Repetitive, abusive behavior and avoidant behavior on Johnny's part. 100% of the time. So, yeah, I guess it is representative of something, right, Amber?
That those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer, as I testified to.
Yeah. No, I gave them everything. It's not my job to put it in. They said don't put in the evidence that would show that I'm true. Yeah, all right. Okay, because that's likely.
I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He says he never hit you. He never. Is that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you?
Even if I didn't know anything about this, never seen the trial, I just look at this. The question is, he says he never hit you. Is that a lie? And just imagine that you've been beaten repeatedly for years and shall we say violated with a broken bottle. Okay? Something that bad. Is this how you would respond?
He never hit you. He never. Is that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen?
Oh, I better maintain strong eye contact.
You instigate physical violence.
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call any of his witnesses any names. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as a person who sat there.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was, because she never took responsibility for anything she did in the marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout my relationship. I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways. I have so much regret. I freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I will always continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was. And it was ugly and could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic. We were awful to each other. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
Heard's lawyers say they plan to appeal.
Please.
Appeal that verdict.
I got no sympathy for you, honey.
And as for the notion from Heard that there was evidence allowed in that UK trial that could have potentially made a difference last week, Depp's attorney said here on Today that the evidence presented in the latest trial far exceeded the UK one, 2 different processes, and they believe the jury got it right. Well, we have a lot more of our conversation to share with you tomorrow morning on Today, including Heard's response to some of the other allegations made about her in court and her answer when I asked how she feels about Johnny Depp now. We've got lots more of that. Our exclusive interview.
All right, Savannah, we know that doesn't exist anymore. Oh my God, look who it is. So Barbara's here from Dublin. Hello, Barbara. What are we doing now? What are we doing now? Let's go to the comments. Where were we? Where were we? Uh-huh. Oh, fuck. Yeah, maybe we'll shut it down. Shut it down. Shut the whole damn thing down. How long was that stream? 3:23 hours. Well, that's not bad. That used to be a long stream for us. Now we're all 5.5 this, 5 hours 45 this, almost 6 this. You know. But it doesn't mean it needs to be like that every day. This is our second live today. It was only 18 hours ago that we finished our live. And I haven't even been to sleep since. That is a solid 26 hours that I've been awake. I don't know if that's good for me. She's still a bad actress. Yeah. Yeah. What is she doing now? I mean, is she gonna be in anything? I would put the Aquaman trailer on, but that's definitely gonna get copyrighted, and I don't want to do that. Thank you. I've forgotten the name that you hate. Vicky girl, Victoria girl, whatever, Monica. Okay, we are signing off. Will we be back to Amber Heard? Yes. Depp Heard, we're doing the testimony of Io, or Bill, or Tim. Yeah, we got Io to cover. And Rocky Pennington. And I want to do yeah, Doris. There you go. But I won't call you something you don't want to be called, Victoria. We are doing well. Yeah, there's a few other things that are worth covering in the Depp Heard trial. We will be back, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow, what is it? Gerard Murray, genuine reason by reason of insanity case, terrible case, Oklahoma, senseless murder, great interrogation, interesting fallout, and turn of events for the accused. But we'll mainly be covering the interrogation with a little bit of the backstory. You know how we roll around here. I think that's what we're doing tomorrow. Unless we put it to a poll. But that was second place on the poll. We did a poll, we set a goal, and we're doing Gerard Murray. So, yeah, Dr. Curry. Oh, yeah. Well, after we do Gerard Murray, we did a poll, we set a goal, we're doing Gerard Murray, and then we're coming back to Dr. Curry. And, yeah, fantastic. Can't wait. Can't wait. Thanks, Norla Vine, and thanks for being here all the way from Sydney. Yeah. Vic G. I don't know about that. That sounds like a sort of cough medicine, which I could do with actually. Right, yeah. True crime, Metrix, out.